One of the more embarrassing blind spots of science is that it has never managed to give us a satisfactory explanation for sleep. If you search a bit online, you'll get a bunch of partial answers that only scratch the surface, like needing to repair muscle tissue or maintain memory or immune function. They talk a lot about the various hormones involved and the different stages of sleep, but never really get to the heart of the matter. Because here's the thing, if sleeping was just about bodily restoration or preserving energy, or any other purely physical process, then you would expect that simply lying in bed with your eyes closed would have the same effect. But for anyone who's ever suffered from insomnia, we know that this is definitely not the case. As someone who's experienced bouts of insomnia in the past, I can attest that after a restless night of tossing and turning, where maybe you only get a couple hours of actual sleep, that you feel like a zombie the next day, just running on fumes. Simply lying still for 8 hours with your eyes closed doesn't do the trick, not even close. So something else must be going on here, and I think we needn't look any further than our smartphones to figure it out. We plug in our devices every night to recharge their batteries, and you can probably see where this analogy is going. Because in the same manner, I believe that the main reason we need to sleep at night is essentially to recharge our souls. It's such a simple premise that it's honestly incredible it hasn't become more of a mainstream theory, but I guess that speaks to the extent in which the materialist mindset has gripped the public consciousness. It's almost taboo to acknowledge that there even is a soul, especially if you want to be taken seriously in any sort of scientific or intellectual context. Anyway, physical life is draining, and as a result, we need to tune back into source, so to speak. This allows us to recharge and gives us the energy we need going into the next day. It's really no more complicated than that. If you want to get into specifics, though, and ask how this is accomplished through sleep exactly, well, that's a good question. We understand the basics of how batteries are recharged electronically, and have verifiable evidence for that, but how exactly can a soul be recharged? What would that even entail? If I was to hazard a guess, it'd be that when we drift off into a state of unconsciousness, such as deep sleep or a dreaming state, our soul is tuning into a different frequency. A higher frequency that is inherently healing and revitalizing, because it is the place from which all consciousness emanates. Only this time, instead of electrical energy for our phone, it's source energy we're talking about. Our souls may even be astral projecting to a different plane or dimension, although I think this transition is more of an internal inner shift rather than traveling out of body to somewhere else. Now, this all may sound pretty woo-woo to the left-brain skeptic, and fair enough, it is a little out there. I have very little evidence to support this hypothesis, so at this point it's more of an intuitive hunch than a proper, well-formed theory. So on that note, I would invite anyone who has experience with out-of-body exploration, astral projection, lucid dreaming, and so on, to share your insights and weigh in on this in the comments. But regardless of the actual mechanism, one thing's for sure. Sleep is way more than just physical relaxation. Even if you wanted to chalk it up to certain hormones being released when our brainwaves enter a delta phase or whatever, well, what is causing those hormones to be produced in the first place, See, when you begin to dig into it just a little, these reductionist explanations never get very far. They never get to the root cause because they merely describe symptoms. They offer only superficial, mechanistic interpretations, a thin, gauze-like veneer that falls apart with ease as soon as you poke at it. This is because scientific materialism doesn't understand that the universe is primarily made up of energy and consciousness, that what underlies everything is fundamentally non-physical in nature. And that is why I prefer this more spiritual explanation, even if it is admittedly speculative. Thank you for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below.